How's it going, guys? I'm Chase Lee and reporting for DallasMovieScreens.com, and I got another movie to review for you guys, and that would be The Bye-Bye Man. Is this going to be the next Freddy Krueger? Are we going to remember The Bye-Bye Man as the next horror icon? No! All right, so listen, I like horror films quite a bit, and I was looking forward to this. Maybe it could have been surprising. I don't know. I mean, sometimes a horror film can just kind of come out of nowhere and just kind of hit you in the side of the face and go, thanks. I appreciate that. This was not one of them. This was pretty bad. And so before I get into my review, I'm going to try to be as detailed as possible because I'm not attacking the filmmakers because they I was looking up the credits and stuff and like they seem like nice people. But my word, is this movie awful. And I think Styx Entertainment, they had a lot to do with this. So, all right, let's get real and break this down. I'm going to start with the writing and directing because this is probably one of the biggest offenses next to the acting. Okay, so the writing in general. Let's start with the story, the dialogue, and the characters. The story itself. It's very generic. There's really nothing new to this type of horror where you have something chasing someone and they may be crazy or not. So this story has been kind of played out over and over again, so it's really nothing new on that regard. But as far as like the plot goes, a lot of stupid things happen, from the characters' choices to characters popping up and don't really go anywhere, to having really no weight to any situation. Like even the whole like third act of the movie just happens so fast to when the movie ends, you're like, that's it? Like it just, I felt like there was no consequences to anything, and then the story itself just didn't add anything. So it was just a very like kind of paint by numbers PG-13 horror film, which we'll get to the rating in just a second. But it didn't really add anything kind of new to this whole type of horror where it's like, yeah, something's chasing me. I may be crazy or maybe not crazy. And on top of all that, the movie kind of starts off very awkwardly. I was like, where's this really going? And you can kind of tell that like the movie is definitely been PG-13 just from the way the opening sequence is cut, but it's just kind of like an awkward start to begin with. And then they go back to that scene and they introduce characters that don't really make a difference in the long run. It's just people are just walking in and out of this movie like, they don't even know where they're at. Going into the writing and the dialogue itself, it's terrible. It's horrendous. It's bland. It's boring. There's really, like, every time when the actor or actress said one of the lines of dialogue, it just, I'd like turn my head away or just laugh because it was just delivered poorly. And it's just, dude, check this out, bro. That's the type of dialogue we're dealing with. And it's just, no. So, character-wise, they are so one-dimensional. I didn't care about any of them. I thought they had absolutely no chemistry because you're concentrating on three people, right? Two of which are a couple and one of which is the friend. I felt like they were the model of the week from Teen Beat, and they were just thrown in the movie. No chemistry. They were not interesting whatsoever. So when the stakes got high in the movie, you just did not care. And I forgot to mention in the story, The Bye-Bye Man. The name of the movie. What does he have to do with this movie? Yes, he controls the people that say his name, which, stupid, by the way. I forgot to mention that. The stupidity of the... Well, I did mention the stupidity of the characters, but the stupidity of them saying the freaking name over and over again. But whatever. If I say too much, it's spoiling. I don't want to spoil it for you guys. But as far as the Bye-Bye Man, where's his backstory? All that was said in the movie is that when you say his name, he appears with a thing, which we'll get to in just a second, but he just appears. And he messes with you. That's it. And it's like, I would have expected a little bit more mythos or something. You don't have to go super deep with it, but it's like, give me something about the man. It's like, he's the one terrorizing all these people. Like, at least give me something. At least Freddy Krueger had a personality. So going into the directing's not awful. Yes, the direction itself, getting performances out of the actors, are pretty bad. But as far as the construction of the movie, it's very paint by numbers. No chances were taken. yes, stuff is introduced and it feels very like kind of choppy a little bit. Like the story doesn't really flow. It's just like some of the stuff would like happen and like it would just scenes would cut off at weird points and it would transition to scenes. It's just so the direction on that quality was pretty bad. But overall, it's just a very blah, average horror movie at best. Can't really blame the director in terms of the story structure because it's not really that interesting to begin with. It could have been interesting. Like that's what drives me crazy is that there was a lot of interesting ideas in this movie, and you could have done the whole hallucination thing and gone full throttle with it and make it super disturbing and R-rated and stuff, but they didn't. They watered it down to PG-13. There were many moments in this movie where you can tell it was a hallucination and stuff was happening, but it was either framed or cropped or zoomed in or cut away or weirdly placed to you where you can't see the blood or the sex or whatever. It's just I feel like this was the type of premise to where you should have kept your R rating because this movie was originally rated R. Sticks Entertainment. Why did you tell them to cut it down? It makes no sense to me. So with that, you're restricted to cutting away the stuff that makes the editing super jarring, and you also can't really show anything. So it looks really awkward. Like there was a sex scene where it was cropped in and like zoomed in like at 200%, and it's like, well, I see what they're doing, but it just looks really awkward. So, yeah, the direction's not horrid because everything else around it's horrid, but it's like, it's just average. It's whatever. Going on into the acting, woof, is everyone bad? Like, everyone is pretty damn bad. And, like, I realize that they're trying, but no one seemed convincing, and every single line uttered, not only was it laughable, but it took me out of the movie, and I didn't feel like I was watching real people in this like kind of weird effed up situation. I just felt like I was watching three model actors read off of a script. The Bye-Bye Man. Don't say it, don't think it. Am I right? No one worked for me. And the chick from The Matrix, she was in it. Is it Carrie-Anne Moss? Why was she in this movie? She literally had 3 scenes. One of which, at the end, someone questions her, and the audience is thinking the same thing. You're like, yeah, that was pretty dumb. So I don't know why she's in this movie. Dear Lord. The cinematography is not bad. I will say that it's a nicely shot movie in terms of like horror PG-13 standards. And there was a couple of interesting shots where they played with the Bye-Bye Man and like some of the people like in the foreground or background and have them come out of the dark shadows or whatever. It kind of reminded me of The Conjuring a little bit, or like Insidious, James Wan type of filmmaking. So I appreciate that. So the cinematography, I will actually say, is pretty competent. And some of the shots were effective. Some of the jump scares worked for me. The way it's lit and stuff. I do appreciate like the visual aesthetic of it. It's not like, anything groundbreaking or anything that I will remember, but while I was watching it, that was not the issue with it whatsoever. Editing wise, the movie's an hour and a half. Once again, it's got some interesting ideas, and the hallucination aspect of it is cool. I like that, but it was really never explored beyond that. It was a very thin premise, so that hour and a half did feel a lot longer than it should. And when you have no actual weight to anything in the movie, when the ending climax happens at the end of the film, and the film just ends, you don't even know what you just saw because it just happened so fast. You're like, wow, that was the end. And I don't, okay, sure. Like everything about it just there was nothing to it. It almost felt like a pointless PG-13 horror film that tried nothing new. And that's kind of disappointing because I was actually interested in, I don't know, maybe a cool backstory of the Bye-Bye Man or, just anything, but I got nothing. And, when the acting is pretty bad and the dialogue is bland and forgettable and everything is just so paint by the numbers and kind of, forgettable and laughable and stuff, it can turn out into a good time. But for me personally, I do not like this movie whatsoever. But I will say this. There was one cool shot towards the end that I really dug, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it was a nice, effective kind of not scare, but a very effective shot. And I was like, that was cool. So like I said, there was hints of stuff that were cool, interesting, maybe they could have played with, but I felt like nothing in the end was accomplished, and it was just a waste of time for everybody. I'm going to give the Bye Bye Man a D+. So what did you guys think of the Bye Bye Man? Have you even heard of it? Comment in the place with my face and let me know. And let me just say this real quick before I end this. If your film is rated R and it plays better, keep it rated R. Sticks Entertainment, what were you doing? You released The Gift 2 years ago. That was rated R. You released Bad Moms. That was rated R. You released The Boy. That was PG-13, but I thought the PG-13 was fine for that one. You should have kept this one rated R, and it might have actually been more effective than it actually was, instead of just a very vapid PG-13, paint by the numbers, nothing horror film. I'm sorry, guys. I try to be as nice as possible. I try to explain myself as much as possible. I do not like this movie whatsoever. So I'm Chase Lee, guys, reporting for DallasMovieScreenings.com, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. See you guys later.